2, 1.
But the prince answered, "Let me have it as a gift then. I know not why, but my heart is drawn towards this beautiful child, and I feel I cannot live without her. If you will let me have her, she will be treated with the greatest honour and respect as one dearly beloved." As he thus spoke, the good little dwarfs were full of sympathy for him and gave him the coffin. Then the prince called his servants, and the coffin was placed on their shoulders, and they carried it away, followed by the king's son, who watched it carefully. Now it happened that one of them made a false step and stumbled. This shook the coffin and caused the poisoned piece of apple which Snow White had bitten to roll out of her mouth. A little while after, she suddenly opened her eyes, lifted up the coffin lid, raised herself, and was again alive. "Oh, where am I?" she cried. Full of joy, the king's son approached her and said, "Dear Snow White, you are safe. You are with me." Then he related to her all that had happened and what the little dwarfs had told him about her, and said at last, "I love you better than all in the world, dear little Snow White, and you must come to my father's castle with me and be my wife." Then was Snow White taken out of the coffin and placed in a carriage to travel with the prince. And the king was so pleased with his son's choice that the marriage was soon after celebrated with great pomp and magnificence. Now it happened that the stepmother of Snow White was invited, among other guests, to the wedding feast. Before she left her house, she stood in all her rich dress before the magic mirror to admire her own appearance, but she could not help saying, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, am I the most beautiful of all?" Then, to her surprise, the mirror replied, "Fair queen, thou art the fairest here, but at the palace now the bride will prove 1,000 times more beautiful than thou." Then the wicked woman uttered a curse and was so dreadfully alarmed that she knew not what to do. At first she declared she would not go to this wedding at all, but she felt it impossible to rest until she had seen the bride, so she determined to go. But what was her astonishment and vexation when she recognised in the young bride Snow White herself, now grown a charming young woman and richly dressed in royal robes. Her rage and terror were so great that she stood still and could not move for some minutes. At last she went into the ballroom, but the slippers she wore were to her as iron bands full of coals of fire in which she was obliged to dance. And so in the red glowing shoes she continued to dance till she fell dead on the floor, a sad example of envy and jealousy. The end.